Hello again, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about English and learning English and how it's weird. Like the way they teach us English in Spain, or at least how they did it. I don't know how they do it nowadays. I'm from 2004, so I'm talking about the way they taught us English in around the end of the 2000s, 2010s, around that era, because that's the era I lived in the school system, especially primary school. So yeah, that affects my experience, obviously, because I don't know how to do it nowadays. Maybe they change, maybe they do it better now, maybe they do it worse. I have no fucking idea, so yeah, take that as you will. But yeah, I really want to talk about this because it's something that really pisses me off. That is why do you do it like this? It doesn't make sense. It's nonsensical. Absolutely nonsensical. For starters, we start learning English at 3 years old, okay? I want to make this especially clear because when I hear about other countries, not even just the United States or whatever, I mean other countries in general, they mostly start learning other languages when they are in 6th grade, at the end of primary school, or even starting middle school, whereas with us, we start at 3 years old if you put your kids in infantil, which is, infantil literally means childish, but it's 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old. It's these 3 years are voluntary. You don't need to put your kids there at the school in these 3 years. However, most people do it because then you're already in the school. When you start primary school, you already can start in that school and you don't need to do more papers about it. You're already in the school, so you just pass to the next year naturally, automatically. And also because parents are busy people, they have jobs to do and stuff, so if they can put their kids with supposedly responsible adults while they are at work, well, that's better for them because they don't need to call a babysitter or something, or ask other relatives to take care of their children if the school already does that. So yeah, if you put your kids in infantil at 3 years old, there's already English classes there. Okay, they're not super serious because you are 3 years old, and at that time no subject is serious because you are 3. It's mostly about how well you interact with other people, or how well you, follow others, whatever. It's kind of like kindergarten, but official kindergarten, because you can have this in public schools, so it's public kindergarten, I guess. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but I guess you kind of get what I'm getting to. So yeah, I understand that those classes can be really intense, or they can really teach that much. You don't have to put your kid there. It sounds unfair to have children when they are 6 years old in first grade of primary school, some being almost bilingual, having a C2 of English, and the other ones not knowing any English at all. How do you manage a class like that when you're already in first year of primary school? It doesn't make sense. So I understand why in infantil you don't really teach English. You just talk about the numbers and the colors and stuff like that, and the teachers don't speak English, they speak Spanish mostly, as far as I remember. Not even Galician guys, they speak Spanish, whatever. I guess that depends on which school you go and in which city you live, stuff. But whatever, the point is, I understand why they don't really teach you stuff when you are from 3 to 5 years old. I get it because of that. However, when you are 6, everyone should be at school. It's mandatory. Homeschooling doesn't exist. You must be at school. Therefore, everyone is getting an education, and because of that, you already have English. If you have English since you are 3, you have English since you are 6. It's a constant in your life, basically, in your school life. It's from when you are 3 or 6 years old until you graduate. But my point here is, if you think about a 6-year-old, a person who's still learning their own language, or languages depending on where they live, if you start teaching a language from such a young age, it will be super easy. I mean, not necessarily like super duper easy, but my point is you can mostly go with immersion because the child is still like learning their own language and they're in the time of their life when they have that like free time, when they have the free time to study, at least if you compare it to life when you are a teenager or an adult, and you are also more receptive. This isn't to say that you can't learn a language by immersion when you are an adult. You obviously can, but it's obviously more difficult for you because you have to manage time. Like, time is a problem when you are an adult. So it's like, yeah, if you have like 6-year-olds, why aren't you, using immersion, like putting some TV shows or something, or just speaking in English, like getting them used to the language. And I'm saying this like that because they don't do that. When you are in primary school, they teach you almost like you are an adult. I mean, not literally, because obviously you're a child and they're going to treat you like a child because you are a child. My point is that they teach you vocabulary. Like every unit, they teach you new vocabulary, like clothes, animals, weather, school subjects, stuff like that, okay? The thing is, they pretty much teach you the same thing year after year after year after year. Maybe they add some more words, but that's pretty much it. And they also teach us grammar, like the present simple, the present continuous, the past, all the stuff. Then we learn the irregular verbs. There's literally a list of irregular verbs that we need to memorize. Okay, like the irregular verbs is not something they taught us when we were like in primary school. That was a high school thing, but still, the point is they taught us the same things each year, every year. And it was just like vocabulary, grammar, like that. How to write, and readings, and speakings, and listenings, and exams like that. So it's like, this doesn't make that much sense when you have all these children who you can just, like, you could just put whatever show, any TV show in English, and it would be a lot more productive. Because they're children. Like, I don't know, I feel like even people who aren't that much into immersion as adults, like they don't really recommend immersing as a method for learning languages once you're an adult. I feel like even those people are aware that it's something useful if you are a child, because of how children learn and acquire languages. So it's like, yeah, why won't we do that in English? Like, they recommended us to like watch shows, but like shows like Peppa Pig and stuff like that when we were like 10 in 5th grade. How do you recommend a 5th grader Peppa Pig? That's for toddlers. Like, maybe you should have put us Peppa Pig when we were toddlers, or maybe like when we were 6-year-olds or 7-year-olds, or I don't know, an age range that's more appropriate. Like, who the fuck as a 10-year-old is going to watch Peppa Pig? Non-ironically. Not because they have a younger sibling that they need to take care and they are watching the show with the toddler. Like, no one's going to be interested in that, and because no one is interested, no one's going to do it, and no one is going to acquire the language thanks to that. Why? So yeah, that's why when people ask me, they ask me sometimes, hey, how long have you been like learning English? I'm like, yeah, since I was like a 3-year-old. And they're like, wow, you must be like a native at this point. And it's like, not really. I mean, I know how to speak English. I have around a B2 or a C1. I still need to have to do my B2 exam. That's why I made this channel, to practice my speaking ability. But I've made some tests, like non-official tests before, and I'm around like a B2, a C1, which is a lot. It's great, but it's like I've been learning this since I was a toddler. If I'm a native in Galician and in Spanish, why can't I be a native in English too? Based on just the time that I had to be studying and immersing in the language. Because now I have this English level. I don't know what you think about my English level right now. However, I must tell you that I'm in like the best that you can find, at least in like high school level, college level, from someone who hasn't really like gone to English classes, like private English classes or an academy, or done anything more serious like that. Because most people can't really speak English at all. I remember having like my speaking exams. They were basically like dialogues, like copying dialogues from the English book and like doing it on your own, but pretty much the same. You didn't really like change the concepts or whatever. It was all the same like script. I mean, I liked changing it because I thought it was very boring, and the teacher would get bored because they were boring dialogues, which makes sense because the point is not to be funny, the point is to learn like the vocabulary or the expressions or whatever. But for me it was boring, what can I say? But yeah, the point here is that most people don't really know how to speak English because that's not really an effective method to teach English to people. Like, unless you are very interested in like something that's only in English, like, and you then consume that content in English, or if you are really into like internet culture, I feel like most people that I know that are good in English or that right now are doing like a grade, like a university grade in something related to English, they mostly speak English well because they wanted to explore more stuff in English, like from the internet, especially like being on Tumblr or in AU3, or, you know, being like in a fandom. I would say that people who are in fandoms tend to have a better English level because you must to like understand the fandom and be in the fandom and even interact in the fandom with other people. However, if you are not that interested in that kind of culture, I feel like most people just don't care. It's like, oh yeah, another subject that I need to pass to like continue my journey in like school, and that's it. There's not really that much interest in anything over that, and if you only stay with what they teach you, you don't really know how to speak English or understand English or anything because it's all very repetitive in like a bad way. Obviously, repetition is important to language acquisition, but the point is you can't really just repeat the same things over and over again for years without adding anything and expect people to know how to speak the language. So yeah, that's pretty much my rant about, I don't know, learning languages, and how when you have the opportunity to teach people, well, children, because they're children, from a very young age, a language, how can you fuck it up so much? Like you have the hours to do something great. Why are you doing this like they are adults learning like grammar, vocabulary like that? Like, they are children. It will be easier for you to just, I don't know, put them a TV show or whatever. You can still do exams to like test if they are learning anything or not, but it's like, why do you do it like this? It pisses me off, especially because in this Galician context that I live in, nowadays the government really wants people to have a better English ability, better English skills, to be able to speak English well. Supposedly, I'll explain this later. So they are trying to take hours or subjects that are by law in Galician and make it in English. Like, nowadays it's almost like 50-50 Galician Spanish, which wasn't something like, it changed when I was like 4, I think, but before that, like before 2008, it was all like, I don't think it was, but like before 2008, I don't think it was really like separated like that. Like, I guess it just depended on the school. I think I should look it up after this. However, now they have like a very like strict, like, oh, this subject must be done in Galician and this one in Spanish. And then what happens in the end is that in schools that are mostly like Spanish speaking schools, they don't care about the law and they speak Spanish all the time. And then the ones that are mostly in Galician, they speak Galician in the Galician ones and Spanish in the Spanish ones. So in the end, it's just erasing Galician, but whatever, that's another topic. But now the point is that they want to put English there too, and it's like, well, which subjects would the English subjects take? Like, if we are going to put some English subjects or subjects in English, which ones are we going to take? They are going to take the Galician ones. We already have a system that should make people bilingual, so I mean in our specific case trilinguals, but it doesn't work because you only do like grammar and vocabulary and stuff like that, which doesn't make sense for 6-year-olds. So it just feels like another opportunity to marginalize Galician again, because that's what they do best. So yeah, that's my rant about English teaching in this country or autonomous community. I'm not sure if in other autonomous communities they do it like this or not, I am not sure, because I tend to think that what happens in my city or my autonomous community is what happens in the rest of the country, and most of the time that's not true. So yeah, I don't know. So yeah, you can like this video, subscribe, comment if you have anything to say about this, whatever my specific case or your case, wherever you're from, about learning languages, and that's it. Bye.